Alright folks, it's time to take your caffeine pills and eat your brain foods. Crank those thought processes into high gear because some movies require a whole lot of mental energy to engage with. This isn't a bad thing by a long shot, but it's probably best to go in with the knowledge that everything is up in the air. After watching these, you might just see the cracks in our own reality. Doesn't that sound like fun? Hello horror heads and welcome back to the scariest channel on YouTube, Top 5 Scary Videos. I'm your horror host Keegan Hughes and today we're going to be taking a look at the top 5 horror plots that made us question everything. Before we get started on this list, we've got a message from today's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. If you're looking for an epic game to play, look no further. In Raid, you take part in a war that's been raging for longer than anyone can remember, with factions full of kings, wizards, monsters, the undead, and more. There are 16 different factions you can choose from, including orcs, dwarves, undead hordes, and more. Head to the index screen to find out about each one. Every faction has their own unique and powerful champions, although lately I've really been digging the demon spawn. The character designs are just so cool and all their skills are wicked. My current favorite champion has to be Soul Drinker, an epic champion, especially because he can set all sorts of bombs on enemies that go off after a few turns. Plus, come on, Soul Drinker? Of course, you can't talk about the demon spawn without mentioning the legendary Prince Kaimar. He's got all sorts of awesome support skills, from poison to making enemies fall asleep. When you get some new and powerful champions, you'll want to train them up as soon as possible so you can go out and win some PvP battles. Best way to level up quickly is definitely running through the campaign to grind XP and get tons of silver. Alright, let's see what we got. Number 1. And boom. Oh my, very nice. Avenger. Look at those swords. I wish I had a couple of swords like that. That's insane. Man, she's strong. Alright, next up, let's see what we got. Okay, very nice. Raider. I like the face paint. Man, I wish I had face paint like that. I just wish I was a raid hero. Alright, next on up. Alright, Wicked, Athel. My goodness, that is a hell of a shield. Raid has recently put out a brand new champion update, tweaking and rebalancing over 20 champions to make PvP even more exciting. Plus, there's the new Forge, which lets you save time by crafting insane artifacts. If you click the links in the description and are a new player, you can get 100,000 silver, 1 energy refill, 10 mystery shards, and 1 free champion, Slasher. All the treasure will be waiting for you right here. Good luck and I'll see you there. Alright, let's get started. Coming in at number 5, we've got Goodnight Mommy. Plenty of movies will try to pull the wool over the audience's eyes. Some do it well and others have a little trouble. Ever since The Sixth Sense floored everyone with its sneaky ghost reveal, directors have been chasing that kind of twist, and well, Goodnight Mommy delivers on that premise. Everything about this movie leaves you wondering what's really going on. Twins Elias and Lucas are weirded out upon the return of their mother after she underwent facial surgery. She's constantly wearing bandages all over her head and is much colder and more reserved than they remember. All of the changes that occurred post-surgery get the two boys thinking, what if this woman isn't their mother? As they do their best to eke out some answers, it becomes apparent that they're willing to do just about anything to get the truth. Things get weird and violent. Old photographs are dug up and potential stand-ins for their mother are found. Nobody's around to help. As all this goes on, the audience is left wondering all sorts of things. How did the mother get back from the hospital on her own? Why are they living in this sterile home in the middle of nowhere? What changed in the woman when she was away from home? Did the boys not know anyone they could contact for help? Then, during the climax of the movie, the twist is revealed. I won't spoil it here, but it makes everyone watching rethink all of the events that led up to that point. What really have we been watching? Coming in at number 4, we've got House. Now for something completely different. House doesn't make you question everything with tense moments and a tragic reveal, it makes you question everything, period. Directed by an experimental filmmaker with lots of advertising experience, this 1977 Japanese haunted house flick defies all expectations. I dare you to watch this movie and not say, "What?" at least once. During my first watch, I probably clocked in at a couple dozen. It's all about a schoolgirl named Gorgeous and her friends Prof, Melody, Kung Fu, Max, Sweet, and Fantasy, all going on a trip to an ailing aunt's remote mansion. You've probably heard this story a million times. It's a classic ghost story. Friends in a haunted house get picked off one by one. Here we come. Oh, and all the friends are exaggerated caricatures, well illustrated by their names. Mac likes to eat. Melody is musically talented. Kung Fu can and will kill you with her bare hands. But wait, you're not ready for this haunted house story. You're not prepared for the levels of insanity that lurk within. You're not equipped to deal with the levels of wacky macabre packed into this 88-minute affair. After taking a hilariously short bus ride out to a matte painting in the middle of nowhere, the girls hike over to Auntie's mansion. After being introduced to her and her cat, things get really weird. The house wants to consume the girls and will employ all sorts of insane tricks to do so. Heads roll and float out of wells to bite people in the pianos induce psychedelic skeleton cat dance sequences and then swallow people whole. Entire rooms fill with blood and threaten to drown all who enter. None of this is shot simply either. It's all about as over the top as one might be able to imagine. And I wouldn't blame you if you couldn't imagine anything like this before. People's brains just ain't what they used to be. 70s era Japan was a different time. Coming in number 3, we've got One Cut of the Dead. If any movie can pull a fast one on first time viewers, it's One Cut of the Dead. I've talked about this before, but please, if you haven't seen it already, go in blind. Skip this entry, subscribe to Shudder, and take in the 97 minutes required to watch it front to back. It starts off as a gimmicky horror movie, a one-take zombie story. No cuts, no editing, no second camera. Just a live broadcast featuring some zombies killing an indie movie crew. Sounds like fun, right? Well, there are some questionable bits in this long take exercise. It seems like a couple of the actors forgot their lines, and a few characters seem to be there for little to no reason. Ah well, it's still a pretty spooky and fun zombie movie. But wait. What happens after the credits roll? Well, heed my advice and go find out for yourself. It'll definitely make you question every camera move and line delivery. Coming in at number 2, we've got Jacob's Ladder. The 1991, not the remake. My god, not the remake. Although plenty of folks would be happy to question everything about the making of that one. Back to the 90s though. Jacob's Ladder constantly bombards you with questions. What actually happened to Jacob and his military comrades? Is this a flashback, a flash forward, a hallucination? Will any of this be answered with certainty, or will audiences be left to stew in their own imaginative juices for a while? I can question all these things, but I'm not so sure I can answer them. We follow Jacob, an ex-infantryman who now works as a postal clerk. He once had a wife and a kid, but now he has a girlfriend and a whole lot of confusion. While trying to just live his life, he finds himself spiraling, hoping that he can figure out what the hell happened during his time in the military. He reaches out to friends and doctors just to learn they've died in freak accidents, and he keeps seeing tentacles everywhere. Has he been dead this whole time? Is it hell? It might seem like I'm asking a lot of questions right now, and well, that's really pretty much all I can do. This is indeed a movie that makes you question everything from the reliability of the narrator to the legitimacy of the world around him to whether any of this is actually happening at all. I suppose the answer to these questions would be it's a movie, so it's all made up anyways, but the scares are too good and the atmosphere is too wicked to default to that. And finally at number 1 we've got Videodrome. You should question your relationship with technology. While watching Videodrome, you might notice that the TVs are old and clunky by today's standards. Nobody really uses VCRs or tapes anymore, and the idea of a pirate TV channel beaming out torture is almost laughable in its simplicity. However, this Cronenberg classic was a prescient warning about how people would grow and interact with technology. Watching it now almost feels instructional, academic. Sure, nobody's growing tape deck slits in their chest or shooting people with fleshy handguns, but taken as metaphors, we're pretty close. Sexuality and ideology are shaped by our relationships with technology more than ever, and Videodrome makes you ask, to what end? Will more people act in ways that benefit major tech corporations because of their interactions with media? How do icons, influencers, and other personalities affect people's perceptions of themselves? Can we acquire some sort of new flesh by mirroring what we see on our screens? What is the new flesh? Long live the new flesh? Who's already outlined the next horror essay? Did any of these question-laden movies inspire you to think more deeply than ever? How many of these actually made you question everything? What movie made your brain enter galaxy mode? Make sure you let me know down in the comments. Speaking of comments, let's take a look at some of your more tearful ones from the top 5 rituals used to summon demons. Chalk_D says, I think YouTube knows something because this was in my recommendations. Are you comfortable with the algorithm knowing all about your desire to summon demons? Josiah Sophia says, this is all unnecessary. All you need to summon Paimon is his sigil and incense, and an offering if you're nice. Sure, that's one way to do it, but is that really worthy of a top 5 spot? Corey Shorter says, how to summon a succubus or incubus. Step 1, take out your smartphone. Step 2, download and use Tinder. Which do you think has a higher success rate, demonic rituals or dating apps? Sarah Sticker says, Samhain is the pagan Wiccan holiday celebrating the last harvest of the year. Yeah, I probably could have been a little more clear about this, but that list was full of demonic summoning rituals from TV and film. Samhain was from Supernatural. And Emmy Bazinga says, but I still wonder how I could summon Keegan for a horror movie marathon. The Spooktober Spectacular Fest rapidly approaches. Keep an eye out. And that's all the time we have for today. Before I summon the Great Pumpkin without the assistance of Charlie Brown, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more movie madness. Thanks again to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring today's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.